And we're live. Hey, what the hell does penultimate mean? I don't even know.
It's the ultimate pen. I've got a couple of them here at my desk. There's some
You
one
know
of
what
these. One of these
penultimate?
is the ultimate pen.
You know what penultimate reminds me of? It's like when kids are giving a presentation in class and it's like, all right, I'm taking volunteers. Who wants to go first? And then there's that one jackass that goes, can we go third? Fucking
By that,
no.
see, third is by then expectations have been lowered, right?
Can we excuse me, Mr. Solomon, can we go fifth? I I'm not a goddamn accountant.
We're going
How about
alphabetical
when you
order.
want to go, raise your hand?
We're going in
Hi, Cody.
alphabetical
Hi,
order.
Laura. Oh my god.
The screams in the background are Jeff administering corporeal punishment to several of his teenage boys.
Yes. And normally I'm opposed to it, but if you've met his children.
If you have teenagers that don't want to do their essays the night before class.
Yeah. We
You're
were
like
talking
Mr.
about
Rogers.
how they deserve everything you just
Are you
gave
putting
them.
your dad slippers on?
I am putting my dad's slippers on.
It's like Mr. Rogers. He walks in and starts changing his clothes. You know, as a kid, I used to be like, "What the fuck is Mr. Rogers doing? Like, why are you're walking in the house and then you're changing?" But now, as a grown up, I get it. I'm just done. I'm fucking done. What you don't see Mr. Rogers doing is like before he enters the house, he like cries a little bit and he's like, this was the worst day ever. Hello, neighbor.
No, he's reaching
right.
into that milk box at his front door where he hides his scotch.
Hey, Laura. Hey, Cody. Hey, Aaron. Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Any articles look good to you guys? Like Solomon put something in, so I almost think we have to talk about that. Not your first one.
We don't have, well, I'm gonna say the first thing regardless. So that was something that I had actually kind of shared with y'all on our breaking the fourth wall here in our private messenger system. I had shared that with you before because I feel like our friend Lori from Dracaena Wines had a nice write up about her thoughts about automated sommeliers, and I just wanted to kind of get everybody's take on it. I don't even think we need to read the article or even mention like the names of the different like automatrons that exist these days, but I don't know. I felt like it would be an interesting conversation.
Sounds good. John, what's yours? It looks like you added this today too.
Biscoff cookie beer.
You want to hit on that one?
Wait, what is it?
You know, those cookies you're not allowed to take off the airplane. They made a beer out of it.
Wait, cookies you can't take off an air.
Come on, the Biscoffs they give you on the airplanes.
Biscoffs?
You've never had a Biscoff? You don't travel much, do you?
Talking about biscottis?
No, Biscoff. Biscoff.
I've never been given cookies on a plane.
What?
Is it because I'm Jewish? Is that what they do? Like they're handing them out, and they look at me and they go,
pretzels.
No. Here's some horseradish and unleavened bread.
Sorry, sir. We left the gefilte fish at the terminal.
You've never had a Biscoff?
A bit, no.
Okay.
I went to school with somebody, or her last name was Bischoff. Is that it? Let's see here. Hi, Aaron. Yes, Mr. Rogers was sitting in the car, just waiting.
There's also the Grey Poupon wine.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about that.
I think so.
Okay.
Fucking sophisticated.
super sophisticated. So there's that, and then hey, yeah, we can all have a story tonight. That hasn't happened in years.
True story.
We'll just go down the
Well,
list.
it's unfortunate that Lori isn't going to be in the chat tonight because she's
It
on the
is.
East Coast.
I mean, we could save it for next week.
We could call
Nah,
it.
it's- I don't want to save it. We can get it off my chest now.
All right. Well,
if
then,
not now, when? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Tomorrow's not promised today, foo.
That's why today's called the present. It's a gift.
Yeah.
All right.
Yesterday's history and tomorrow's a mystery, man. But today's a gift. You know what I'm saying?
Well, while you're riffing that, why don't you give me a opening?
Shit! Can I pour this first?
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
do it off camera so you don't know.
I got it. Never mind.
Oh, I can do it. I'll get in there and I'll nudge you out in a second.
Nudge. A wink's as good as a nudge. You know
Sure,
what I mean?
you had all week to do a write-up, Jeff, and now you're going to do it in the last 10 seconds?
Why are you talking to yourself
I'm
like
taking
that,
away
Solomon?
I'm taking away your game console.
Quit hitting yourself, Square.
All right. You guys all set? I think.
Why you hitting yourself?
Oh, wait. Hold on. I gotta do the share.
Biscoff. Nobody knows what a Biscoff is.
What? Aaron knows what a Biscoff is.
Mustard.
Aaron's coming in hot tonight.
Whoa! Biscoffs from Gilroy? I don't think so.
You guys ready? Anything else?
I think we're good. What the fuck does penultimate mean?
Some sort of weird skit by some magicians from Las Vegas.
David Blade does this shitty.
At the sound of the tone, the official "We Like Drinking Time" will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 349 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing Biscoffs, robots, and mustard. So crack open that beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking.
Axel, so you're proud of yourself for being the first person in the history of the universe putting those three words in one sentence.
Just the way you went, mustard. I cannot wait to download and listen and just repeat those first 5 seconds of the show. That was brilliant. How did we not win the podcast award? I don't know.
It's remarkable that we didn't win.
It's a mystery.
It's a mustard mystery.
It's a mustard gas. Anyway, cheers, my podcast drinking friends, and welcome to Happy Hour 349 of your favorite award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on finales.
Fun! Mustard fun. Who hasn't had fun with a jar of mustard before? Come on.
Pardon me. So make sure you never miss another episode of our brand of drinking fun by visiting welikedrinking.com/subscribe.
Subscribe.
All right, folks. Episode 349, the penultimate episode of the We Like Drinking
Whatever
podcast.
the fuck penultimate means. What does that even mean? Can someone tell me before our last show, which is next week?
Second to last.
No, next week's our last.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this episode is the second to the last.
Yeah, but if somebody could tell me what penultimate means before we get to our last show next week, I'd appreciate it.
You want me to say thank you now?
Sure.
You've heard everybody talking or giggling, but you may not put names to faces since you can't see them since you're listening to a podcast. So let's find out who we're drinking with, what we're drinking. We're joined by our usual panel members. We've got our California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador and recovering wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Hey, I just felt it was important to say, since nobody's giving me the satisfaction of letting me know what penultimate means, I hope we find out before our last episode next week. But since we do only have one episode left after this, I don't mind burning bridges. Fuck Middle America. What are you gonna do? Stop listening? Okay.
That it?
Yeah, that's shalom, everybody.
Our commercial brewer and snake wrangler, John Riak.
Yeah, I'm here, and I feel like I should be sitting on a park bench in Paris saying, I drink, therefore I am.
And I am your host and certified specialist of wine like 7 years ago, Jeff Eccles.
Don't you have to renew that?
You don't. I just get to put it on the end of my emails for the rest of my life.
That's so cool.
You don't have to, you don't have any CEs or anything you need to do with that?
No.
Did you get a pin?
No.
Would you like one?
No.
I know a guy. Do you want to?
I've got a tack. I've got a tack somewhere in a cup here on my desk.
Ew. What kind of? I don't even want to know what's in that cup.
There's a tack in here. There's a lot of pens.
How
did
we not win?
A lot of pens. What?
Let's find out what everybody's drinking. Jeff Solomon.
Hey, I am drinking from Cellar Maker Brewing Company. Where the hell's Cellar Maker from? San Francisco, California. I am drinking. Look, here's this guy. He looks like if Elton John were made of hops. And it's called Tiny Dankster. I am drinking the Tiny Dankster Pale Ale coming in at 5.7%. But the thing that everybody wants to know is hazy! Yeah! Get closer, Tony Dancer.
Ooh, that's looking.
This is hella hazy.
Hella
and I do want to say this. Like, I poured this 3 or 4 minutes ago. The head retention is insane. Like, it looks like mountainous. It's mountains. There's a crevasse or a crevice. What's the difference between a crevice and a crevasse? Tell me before
your level of assholery
show.
Is the difference between crevice and crevasse.
But yeah, it's actually, it was labeled as a hazy pale ale, and yeah, it tastes like every other hazy pale ale on the market. Proceed.
John, dipping into your own juice again?
Yeah, I am, but I have a special thing that I just opened up, and you'll notice that the glass is quite clear in this bottle of wine. As I move it up a little farther, and I know the people listening aren't going to see this, but the liquid has a particularly green cast to it, does it not?
Is it a Vino Verde?
I was gonna say
it is Besito Caliente from Noisy Water Winery in is it Alamogordo, or I don't know where the hell they're at. It's chili wine, folks. I had some of this at their tasting room in Ruidoso about 5 or 6 years ago. Sharon and I drove down there, and it started to rain, and we were camping, and all the stupid Texans left dirty diapers at the campsite, so we left, came home. But this, as I recall, it was interesting.
Is that A 375 or a 750?
It's a 750.
Okay.
So I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink less.
Caliente.
I'm going to drink less than this and pour the rest of this out.
Hot little kiss. Woo.
I've got some honey pale ale to cleanse my palate. And everybody knows that I've had that before. But this is it doesn't. Oh yeah, it smells like bell peppers. But on the palate,
And palate wrecked.
this is a 2018. I'm not getting much at all.
I imagine something like that is kind of a drink early kind of wine.
Yeah, I mean the wine per se hasn't gone bad, but there's
Right.
it's now let me say this. It's very possible that capsaicin doesn't always mix well in liquids. So it could be that way down here is a totally different experience.
John, you
So
got to
should I-
do it for the video. Thumb over the top, shake it up right now, and rapport. You got to do
I'm
it.
not thumb over the top. I put the
Oh man, I'm so looking forward to this.
Well, while he's prepping that, no, okay,
I've got
wait.
another glass to pour this into, and we can re-pour this. It's nice and aerated now, right?
Yeah.
I didn't bring it
No,
aerated.
it's
Yeah,
not.
shake before drinking.
Shake before drinking.
That's the name
A
of the
little
show
bit
this
more,
week.
but still not much.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I imagine that kind of stuff kind of falls out rather quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it
this
just
is
falls
2000
into the-
This is a 3-year-old wine.
Yeah.
The wine itself hasn't gone bad. I mean, the cork did its job, but it's not spicy.
It's like an IPA, you know. I think that
yeah.
those, yeah,
So onto my lizard tail horned honey pale.
I've never on the show seen somebody disappointed that it didn't taste as bad as they thought it was going to.
It's the first time for everything, right?
I was really
So-
hoping it would be shittier.
So I'm holding up the can of what I'm drinking. It's got the state of
Oh,
Wisconsin.
you got some new Glarus something.
I've got some new Glarus. I've had the spotted cow on here before. I'm excited about this. I'm having the Moon Man is what this one calls, and this is ingenious. This is called, it's a no coast pale ale. So you know, New Glarus, something you can only get in Wisconsin. You can't get it anywhere else.
Unless you're a bar in Minnesota that wants
Unless you're a
to break
bar in
federal
Minnesota,
laws.
you want to break some laws. So the no coast pale ale, by the way,
Ears hazy.
very clear, very clear. Still smells like a lager-ish. There's not a whole lot of hop aroma coming off on this one. You know, a lot of pale ales, it's this weird category now, John, where a lot of pale ales, it's like they try so hard that they almost become IPAs.
Yes.
Like the pale ale category is really hard to define anymore because most of the pale ales you think of are damn near IPAs.
Yeah, it's been this, and I don't want to say we're guilty of that too, but you know, all our standard IPAs are 6.5, 6.8. Doubles are 8 something. You know, we brewed this Musical Highway, which we've kind of put into semi-retirement for a while, which I think is a true American pale ale in that it was 5.6 and like 34, 35 IBUs. You know, Sierra Nevada territory, right? It's a beginner beer, something that's easy to drink. It's not, you know, you don't have to worry about blasting your palate out after 2. So, yeah, That's more like a session IPA as opposed to a pale ale. If it's
And so
anyway,
this one, it hits right in that sweet spot of where a pale ale should be. Like it definitely goes beyond like a Pilsner or something like that. Like there's some actual hop flavor profile going there, but it's just sun-kissed a little bit with the hop. It's like enough that you get this hop presence, but it's not lingering. The beer is still very refreshing. This is still something that you'd love to have after mowing the lawn, or there's food that I would pair this with. This is an excellent representation of what a pale ale should be, in my
good.
opinion.
That's great.
Yes,
I'm
like,
glad to hear that.
this is delicious.
Good.
And it's like the IPAs these days, they're so over the top. They're so big. It's like I can drink one, maybe two, and I'm like, dude, I'm tapped out. My palate's wrecked. I'm done. But this is like a sessionable, delicious pale ale. Well done, New Glarus.
Cool. I like to hear that. On a addendum, after I finished with the wine, which I'm not going to drink any more of, I took a sip of my honey pale ale, and the carbonation, the bubbles in there, kind of woke up some of the heat from that wine in my mouth a little bit. So
Got
that's
a little bit of the heat.
Yeah, just to let you know it's there. I mean, it's
Nice.
kind of just, I don't know, like one drop of Cholula on your over easy egg or something like that. Just a very minimal amount of heat.
And Aaron in the chat, you are exactly right. Forget Milwaukee's best. New Glarus is where it's at. Amen to that. If you're ever near Wisconsin, do yourself a favor and buy up all the different New Clarises you can find.
Well, I've got one of the guys who's a part owner in the brewery. His wife's been working in Milwaukee on a travel nurse thing for the last like 5 months, and he's going to get her at the end of the month. And I said, you're driving through Iowa. Why don't you stop at Toppling Goliath and get me some Pseudo Sue on your way back? He's like, what are you talking about?
I'm telling you,
I showed it to him. He's like, oh, okay, I'll stop there.
you can get it here now. You can get like 5 or 6 of their beers here now.
Oh, it's not here in New Mexico yet.
It's a bummer. What, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, hey, yeah, all around Pseudo Sue, good stuff. I gotta say, I have had the spotted cow before too. I don't know how it ended up in my house, but it did. It didn't go through the United States Postal Service. And yeah, New Glarus makes some good stuff, and so does Toppling Goliath. But still, I just want to let everybody know before our last episode, when they finally tell me what penultimate means, I did still want to say, fuck Middle America.
Did it get to your house like attached to a kilo of cocaine attached to a mid-70s sedan? What?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was hidden in the nether regions of
a Crown Vic.
A robot sommelier.
If this is how salty Solomon is in our penultimate episode, imagine how he's going to be
Whatever
next
the
week.
hell that even means. I don't even.
Wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. Okay, this is my
Pop
last
culture reference.
shot.
Pop culture reference.
Pop culture reference. What?
PCR, bro.
Isn't that like some weird computer term? PCR?
There's NCR.
Polymerase chain reaction.
National Cash Register?
Yeah. Is
Okay.
that the term?
No,
That's a weird term.
it is.
How do you spell it?
I got it right, though, Jeff.
Oh,
What did you think it
okay.
was?
PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Everyone knows that.
All right. So if you haven't been around for the previous 348 episodes, I'm going to give these guys a term, and they're going to try to guess where it's a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some sort of pop culture reference. This week's term is The Box. The Box.
DABOCKS.
Pretty freaking close.
How do you spell it?
THE, first word, second word, BOX. The Box.
Oh, so it must be Italian.
Are you leaving anything off in front of the box?
Nope.
Like, would you say dick in before?
No.
So it's not what's in the before it. What's in the
Hey, Stash, what's in the box, dude? No, this is not a radio trivia. Wait a minute, it is a radio trivia contest, isn't it? Anyway, this week's term is the box.
the box.
The box.
The box.
The box.
All right.
Should I put quotations around that when?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to spin the wheel, and the wheel says, okay. Eccles, you go first.
There's so many different ways to go with this. Obviously, there could be some trauma from John's past when he had spent some time in the box. It could be some horrible terms. I am going to say that this is I'm going to take the simplest answer here and say that this is a pop culture reference that has to do with what some would call the greatest sport on earth, that John was known to get in trouble while he was playing and be sent to, and that would be the penalty box in hockey. And probably the Sabres lost because they took some stupid penalty and somebody had to go to the box.
Okay. That's a good response. What do you think,
Once
Solomon?
in 349 tries, I finally
Yeah,
got
I
a good
actually like
response.
that one. What do you think, Solomon?
Oh, Jeff. You're so naive. You know, I hope that you remember it was just a couple of weeks ago that Jess from Just Enough Wine sent us these wonderful notes on the back of these beautiful images with these wonderful tasting cards. I'm showing these off. And the thing about Just Enough Wines was, it wasn't really about the cards. And it really wasn't even about the wine that was in a can. The thing that we could not stop talking about was the box, because it was just such a beautiful presentation. Obviously, this is a wine reference. John is talking about the box that Just Enough Wines came in.
I think we all agree that was the best presentation of any of the free samples we've gotten over the years of the show.
We've gotten some good boxes.
We've gotten some nice boxes. Personally, that was my favorite. It was. But in this case, the term the box is a pop culture reference. However, what is occurring this week in New Mexico?
In New Mexico, what is occurring this week is the balloon races.
The Balloon Fiesta, the most photographed event on the planet.
I'm pretty sure they stole that from Reno, who does a magical balloon race every year.
So there aren't balloons. So when I got to work today, there were literally hundreds of balloons in the air. But the box, I don't know. Can you see it? You can't see all those little dots? There's
Oh my
hundreds of them.
God. Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
But the box is a phenomenon that happens in the Middle Rio Grande Valley, where we're located, where from the north, southerly winds come down low and move above the river And then the balloonists take off and they take that lower slight breeze a couple of miles downriver. Then they turn on their flames and they rise back up. And the northerly winds that come out of the south, warmer air goes across, and the balloons can move in a box. So they go downriver, they go up, then they get pushed north again, and then they let the flap open and come back down, and they can move basically in a box. So it's called the box. There, you learned something.
That is the coolest explanation of the dumbest term we've ever known. That was really cool.
What's really weird is like twice a year, and it's going to come up pretty soon. And now, if you look out my back window, you can see the Sandia Crest, which is actually a mountain that is split off from the separation of the Rio Grande Valley. They're moving what I see out my window is moving east like a quarter of an inch every 100 years or something like that. So in a million years, it's just going to go out into the plains and sink into the crust and be gone. But it is, from my house, it's 10,700 feet. So 5,200 feet up, it's almost a mile. All right. It's not like Pikes Peak. It's not that huge, but it's difficult for balloons to get over. And only about twice a year will winds go from west to east that allows balloons to go over. So one of these days, we're going to see a couple of balloons go over the crest, and it only happens like once or twice a year because no one wants to drive their truck that far to pick up a freaking balloon and drive it back to Albuquerque.
Yeah, totally understand. Totally get that. If you haven't noticed, the last two episodes are basically all for us. As Jeff Solomon says, what he's
I did want to say.
Wait, here we go.
What's that, sir?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I thought there was.
You're going to go on the penultimate rant.
No, what I did want to say was I wanted to make sure that Middle America knew, like, fuck them, but also, but to be clear, fuck the coastal elites as well. Fuck everybody. What are you gonna do? Give us a 1-star review? I don't care. But in your review on Apple Podcasts, please let me know what penultimate means.
Let's transition from that to a fun partnership that we have to tell you about this week. Our good friend and clown car driver, Lori, over at Dracaena Wines, has offered all our listeners a special deal. It's probably going to be the last time we talk about it. If you purchase any wine from them and use code WLD at checkout, you will get 5% off your order. Additionally, Dracaena Wines will send We Like Drinking a matching 5% of the order. So if you've ever thought about becoming a patron, which you can't do anymore, and you didn't want to commit to the monthly payment, which why the fuck not? Here's a great opportunity for you to score some delicious Paso Robles wine and still help us out. Dracaena's offers their Cabernet Franc, both Reserve and Classic. So this is a win-win-win, Jeff Solomon, for everybody. If you pick yourself up some today, visit welikedrinking.com/wine to get your order in. Maybe you can get a bottle for next week's final episode.
I was just
that was almost as good as my read a couple weeks ago.
Almost.
I'm just wondering if there's like that one listener that was like, I really like Dracaena Wines, and I really would love to get it at a discount, but I do not want to support the We Like Drinking podcast. So they're just waiting. They're waiting for this thing to end. They would rather, I see you would rather spend an extra $5 to not support us, which it kind of answers your question, Jeff. Why were they not donating money to us to begin with? It's because they actually want to donate money against us. Yeah. I get it. All you wanted was the free show just so you had something to complain about. I totally understand. But fuck you guys. I'm talking to you, dads drinking bourbon. I know that you listen to our show. Y'all can fuck off.
Oh boy. Okay.
How about that acceptance speech from Dad's Drinking Bourbon? Jesus Christ.
I think they recorded that
The same
In
time
the-
we recorded ours?
in the future, but also in 1950.
Here's
somehow.
my impression of that. This is a visual one. So those of you, if you're not watching at welikedrinking.com/show or YouTube, you're really missing out. Here's Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Gee, thanks everybody. I didn't expect this. I really appreciate it.
Why are you humping your desk?
That's what they were doing. You had months to pretend to accept an award, and this is what you get. Oh, I did. I don't even know what's going on. Like, come on, bro. You know you only won because you have a better name for your podcast than us. I will give you that. The name of your podcast is better, but your podcast also sucks. Quit.
Also,
I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and listen to this Dad's Drinking Bourbon podcast that won the podcast award this year. He goes, he starts off the show going, I feel like Michael Jordan. I feel like we're the Bulls three-peating with this. Fuck you guys. Look, I've got one of these awards. You know what I'm going to do later? I'm going to shove it up my own ass. That's the only thing it's good for. You're
Booze News, where we discuss interesting, noteworthy, or things Jeff Solomon wants to stick up his butt. Apparently,
I'm just waiting for the screen grab on YouTube with me going.
Oh, John, how about you lead us off?
Okay, so every now and then we go to the grocery store, and right as you go in, we go to Smith's, which is a Kroger company. They have this little, mid-aisle kiosk with Biscoff cookies on it.
Or is
No,
it butt stuff?
Where are we going with this episode?
What the fuck are Biscoff cookies?
Well, first off, how can you get on an airplane in a North American continent and not know what a Biscoff cookie is?
I've never been given a cookie on an airplane.
I've
been given peanuts until everybody started pretending they had peanut allergies. Thanks a lot, everybody. I enjoyed the peanuts. Now I can't have them.
Okay, so there's these cookies that normal people are given on airplanes, and they're called Biscoffs, and they taste really good, especially in the morning after you've had that bad coffee from the airport, and it's leaving a shitty taste in your mouth, and you're sitting on the plane, and you're drinking water to keep from getting dehydrated, and here comes the waitress after you reach 12,000 feet, not the waitress, the flight attendant. Golly, I'm sorry. And she or he gives you a package of Biscoffs, and they make your mouth even drier, so you got to drink more water, which actually works for you, right? But Biscoffs actually taste pretty good. And then you walk into your grocery store, and you see like this little cardboard kiosk, and there's all these containers of Biscoff cookies, and you're like, holy shit, who got into the galley of the airplane and stole all these cookies off the plane? Isn't United going to be upset? Anyway, my wife buys these things occasionally, and she's been gone for the last week, and there was still half a bag, and I think I polished them off like Sunday watching football. But two breweries in England, Driftwood Spars in Cornwall and Fallen Acorn in Hampshire, got together, and they brewed a whopping 5 barrels of this, 1,200 pints, using 200 cookies. So I wish I could taste it, and I wish I could maybe trade them some Biscochito Brown, which I'm probably going to brew in the next couple of weeks, which is like Biscochito's New Mexico's, the state cookie of New Mexico, which is cinnamon and anise and all their good stuff. And if you drink our beer, it tastes just like a Biscochito cookie at 8.5% ABV.
And
but
where can you get that beer at, John?
At Lizard Tail Brewing in Albuquerque, New Mexico, probably around December 1st. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So anyway, I think it's pretty cool that they did this. So they stole all those cookies off of airplanes and made beer with it. And I know you feel left out, Solomon, but what do you want me to say?
No, I'm just envisioning
Everybody else that's listening to this episode
I'm,
in their car has had one, and everybody is commenting on the side while we do the show. They've had them, and I've had them, and Eccles has had them, and I know you feel left out, but sorry.
I cannot wait until the next time John Ruyak and his wife get on a plane. They both have empty carry-on bags, and they just start shoving these cookies into their empty carry-on bags. And the flight's almost done, and John goes, "Excuse me, bar matron, can I have more Bischoff cookies?" And then you too, sir, can make your own Biscoff beer, whatever the hell it's supposed to taste like.
Laura has no idea she's heard of it, but never had one, even on a plane.
Really?
Yeah, I think you just dream shit up, John.
When's the last time you were on a plane? Fourth wall. John Ruyak does not like to fly on planes.
I don't like flying on planes, but if I get on a plane, they better give me a fucking Biscoff.
When's the last time you've been on a plane? This sounds like something like I can imagine the dad from Leave It to Beaver, like he would expect like a Biscoff cookie and a fucking pipe.
In a Marlboro. That's what you were given on the last flight.
On my Alaska flight from Portland to Anchorage, and I got a second package on my. So I would have had 4. I could have made 6 beers with that. But they didn't have any for the return flight. You know what's cool? You know what's cool about Biscoff cookies though? They're the kind of cookies that kind of get stuck in your molars, and you can kind of work them out for the rest of the flight. You can you get a little taste of it later on.
Our buddy Cody is watching live right now, and he says that they're an Alaska Airlines exclusive, and they are crappy ass ginger snaps. That's what he says.
I don't even know what the flavor they use in them, but you know what? It's all right for a free snack. What the hell do you want?
Oh, like, now you're setting the bar.
Here's the tell. You're talking about a brewery. You're talking about a brewery in the UK that's making them, and you're like, how can you be an American and not know about Biscoff cookies? I'm certain the next thing is like fish and chips or like curry fries beer or something.
Now our viewers are starting fights. Laura's husband just flew Alaska and he didn't get one, so now he's calling up complaining.
Cody's saying they're crappy ginger snaps.
That's what Jeff Solomon said 30 seconds ago, John.
Yeah, okay. That's what I said that Cody said.
Hey man, I've been drinking pepper wine and honey beer, so give me a freaking break.
That's like your opinion, man.
All right. Stop being so naive, John. Jeff Solomon, what for the first time in probably 150 episodes, Jeff Solomon has something for Booze News.
Yeah, and really, as far as this booze news goes, what I do want to take a moment to promote. We were talking about our friend Lori. She makes some wonderful wines for Dracaena Wines. She also has a blog that she runs through her winery's website. So if you ever figure out how to spell Dracaena, you should go to dracaenawines.com and check out what Lori wrote. She had a really nice opinion piece entitled, "Seriously, do we need a robot in the wine world?" And she was talking about how, she kind of started by talking about, I don't know how many of you have seen this. I've been there in the Miracle Mile in Las Vegas and seen like the big robot bartender where it's like these gigantic arms where you punch in what drink you want and then a robot like pours it and shakes it and everything. She started by talking about that. And certainly that's a novelty, and it's certainly overpriced, as expected, because it's Las Vegas anyways. But she was talking about how they have slowly been introducing robot psalms in the industry. And it's interesting that they're starting to see some companies in the wake of this pandemic that we're dealing with, kind of seeing like, well, look, maybe I should start implementing these robot psalms in our restaurants. And I know that Lori was very much saying like it takes away from, you know, the reason why the psalm exists. It's about having this relationship with this wine professional that can really tap into the things that you like, and that's something that you're gonna miss when you're dealing with a robot sommelier. And I was wondering how y'all felt about that. Like, how do you feel about robots coming in and taking jobs from sommeliers, or really sitting there when sommeliers aren't available? But what are you thinking about it, Jeff?
Oh, man, this is one of those things, you know, is because we've seen this kind of, seems like kind of where it's going to lead to, right? Because we have all these apps that tell us what wine we like, and we take a test and it'll tell us what wine we like, or we try the wines and we rate it and it'll tell us what wines we like. And so we have all these apps come out. We have all this help in everything, the foods that we eat, the things that we drink, the beers that we like, the wines that we like, the books that we like, you know, all this, the shows that we like on Netflix. Everything has algorithms that helps tell us what we like, and they're pretty good at it, right? So is this just the continuation of that, and it's been hyper accelerated because we had a pandemic where we put a bunch of people in their houses with nothing to do but think of shit to do, and so they start coming up with these things, and you know, people couldn't come back to work. People don't want to come back to work. We're going to pay people too much money, and it's going to be cheaper to hire robots. You know, there's all these arguments that take us down these roads. And I think there will probably be some experimentation. We see this at restaurants as well. You know, you go to a McDonald's or, you know, some Panera, and you can just order on a kiosk, and some robot will throw food at you, or you get sushi on a train. You know, there's all these things that this is happening with. So I think there's going to be experimentation with this kind of thing, and it'll probably be cool at first, but I think when it comes down to it, as things get back to quote normal, or the new normal, or whatever, I think we will get back to a point where we're like, damn it, I just want to sit up at a bar and I just want to talk to somebody over a drink. And I may not have anybody to talk with, or I may want to ask somebody their opinion on a food or opinion on the drink, or they want to have that interaction. And until the robots look super real and can learn and interact, you know, I don't think this kind of thing is going to stand the test of time. I think it will be a fad. But I think when it comes down to it, the social interaction is what we look for when we go out for a meal or a drink or anything like that. And these robots and whatnot and apps and all this crap won't replace the human interaction.
What do you think, John?
A couple of stories, and they will relate, and I'll keep them, John, short. We've got a guy that works for us. He's a trust fund baby. He works for us 2 days a week. He doesn't need to work. He comes to work, and he works at our Nob Hill location, and he just wants to talk to people. He wants to talk to people about beer. He just wants to talk to people in general, which that's cool. He's a nice guy and he does a good job for us. He works a couple days a week, and and he adds to the flavor of our company. I mean, these robot sommeliers, are they also Roombas? Are they gonna like sweep up the floor at the end of the night too?
They
I mean,
better.
I think there was a Roomba joke. Like, honestly, I wonder if it's not the most efficient thing to have a Roomba on the bottom as they're serving people. They're also sweeping.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, robots can actually multitask and actually probably do both things well. Right?
If there's, you know what they always used to say: if there's time to wander around the restaurant, there's time to pick up after your damn self.
I mean, if you're not carrying a rag, you ain't doing your job, right?
If there's time to lean, it's time to clean.
Exactly.
You got to grab the drink before the robot bumps into you, because that is going to turn a random direction and just take off.
I was actually
grab the drink, or you're cleaning the sink.
There you go. So I was actually like scrolling through my news feed and stuff, and there was a story about how AI is never going to replace the human element. And then I was thinking about this thing I saw. It's kind of related, and I think it plays into this because you want the human element, right? Some guy took Robert Plant's Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love and Aretha Franklin's Respect, and he put it through the Pitch Perfect computer app and changed their notes to their perfect pitch in those songs. And then you play them, and you would play sections of them, and then he'd correct the pitch and play sections of them and correct the pitch. And yeah, it's perfectly on pitch, but where's the human element? You listen to it. I mean, it certainly did damage to both, right? Because certainly everybody's familiar with Robert Plant and Aretha Franklin, and if you're not, you've been living under a rock for the last 50 years. But it just completely loses, and I think today's music, at least today's pop music, with all the pitch corrections they do and that stuff, it just seems kind of flat, right? And what I mean by flat, and that's a specific musical term, but for the human element, it leaves something wanting. We crave imperfection, I think. As humans, we want perfection, but we realize that we're human and we can't be perfect, and then we accept imperfection, and it instills humanity. And wine is made by people, and it is served by people, and it is consumed by people, and those little imperfections maybe are what makes something special or different. So to Eccles' point, I echo that. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I think there's going to be some robot sommeliers, but they're going to be Roombas by 2025.
Here's what I will say. And great points, gentlemen. What I will say is I'm all for the robot psalm. And I do not believe that it has to be this mutually exclusive thing where at a restaurant, it's either you have one or the other. Like, you could definitely have both. And I can see a real advantage to that as well. In the sense that, I don't know if any of you have ever been to like a self-serve wine bar or a self-serve tap house before, where they give you a card and you go up and you can try different things. The reality is there are, I will say the majority of times when I am going to a place with a really nice big selection of beers or wines, I will say the majority of times I really don't want to hear the opinion of somebody else before I make my choice, right? Like, I like and we talk about the imperfection, John. I like the imperfection in myself in going like, I think I might try this, and then going like, what am I doing? I like being able to make those choices, and I like, no joke, not having to wait for somebody else. And certainly if I'm sitting at a table and I'm waiting for a robot, that's something right there. But certainly like that's something that could be kind of dialed in. I imagine there's like a little button and it like beckons the robot psalm over, right? But you also know, like I think anyone who thinks that, a robot psalm is gonna displace a bunch of other workers, I don't necessarily know about that, because certainly you're going to have to employ more technicians on site to fix things when they go wrong. And certainly you're still going to have people that are working there that also are tasting the wines that are like, oh yeah, man, this is what I'm really into when you need it. But I honestly, I get a kick out of automation. Oh, doggy, I get a kick out of automation when it comes to going to a place with a big beer and wine selection. Like, I like to explore and try my own things, but then I do like to talk to somebody every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's room for that, and I think, I don't know if it's the right stance to be like, this is an abomination, or this will never last. I think there's always going to be room for it, right? And even if it's not one's particular cup of tea, I believe it is the cup of tea of many. I would like to say, sorry, breaking the fourth wall. The reason why the next show will be our last show is because from there on forward, it's going to be entirely automated. We have a bank of all of our sounds that are going to be running through, and some people might enjoy this, a pitch corrector, but it's just going to basically like, snap our profiles off of Facebook, and just, they're gonna say what we probably would have said anyways. So it's all good, everybody. You're still gonna
even with my nasal twang. Can I get my 60-second rebuttal on this?
Yes, of course.
Sure.
No, and not really a rebuttal, but I guess it's a shame that one of the benefits of the beer industry is I can go pull off a 5, as much as I hate it, and put it in a 5-ounce taster glass and fill it halfway and say, hey, can I get a taste of your India Black? Can I get a taste of the Apricot Grand Cru? No problem. And I wish that was more readily available in the wine industry, so that you could taste 5 or 6 different things and then really make a choice. I get the way wine is presented and packaged, that's really, really, really difficult. I wish it wasn't so, because you're like, hey, it's kind of like the scratch and dent sale at the music store. You can get a guitar at half price because if someone played it and dropped it on the ground and the string is broken or whatever. We'll give you this 900 bottle of Petrus for $76 because someone just wanted a taste of it, right? It just can't work that way. And it's a shame that it can't.
Aaron just lay out our next show. It's a mental image of all of us as clones of Bender from Futurama with our voices dubbed in. Also, Solomon, Cody wants to know what your thoughts are on Middle America.
Oh yeah, Middle America can go fuck off, just like the West Coast and the East Coast and the North Coast and the South Coast.
What about the No Coast?
What's that?
The No Coast.
The No Coast.
The No Coast? Yeah, fuck them too, and fuck their IPAs or their regular PAs. Yeah.
All right.
Go hit the bricks.
We got a time for another one. We'll see how this one is going to go.
Go ahead.
So, also coming out of Food and Wine magazine, I think John's story came out of Food and Wine magazine. If I was to say to the two of you chaps, pardon me, would you happen to have any Grey Poupon? What would you guys say back?
I would say, but of course. And I would hand mine from my limo to yours.
From your Rolls Royce to mine, right? So,
Yeah.
asking someone that in the past, you envision a Rolls Royce, and you may get, a jar of mustard, but
not just any Rolls Royce, but a Silver Shadow.
silver. Yeah. But this is 2021.
40 years ago that these commercials were on TV.
This year, if you pull up next to somebody and ask that, they may hand you a bottle of wine as well, because La Moutarde Zin is a full-bodied Viognier being released by the Grey Poupon brand. Not only does it carry the signature logo of Grey Poupon, but it also contains actual mustard seeds in the bottle of wine. Daniel Coopersmith, hold on. Daniel Coopersmith, who is the Kraft Heinz brand manager for Sandwich Enhancers.
Sandwich Enhancers.
He's the brand manager for Sandwich Enhancers. Told Food and Wine that the wine, with regard to its flavor, we especially love how the spice and dryness of the limited edition 2020 vintage Viognier also mirrors some of the signature characteristics of the Grey Poupon. You can find out more or order your own bottles at greypouponwine.com.
And if you enter the promo code WLD at checkout, they'll charge you $5 more.
And they'll charge us $5 more, along with possibly a cease and desist letter.
Why do we? No, I think this is how we keep the show afloat. Everybody, if you want to keep the show going, everybody right now, order some Grey Poupon mustard, enter the promo code We Like Drinking in the at checkout, only so they ask, what the fuck is We Like Drinking? They look it up and they go, wow, they've got a very energetic nano fan base. We may as well give them some of this Grey Poupon money. Next thing you know, month later, we're driving around in Rolls Royces, and the show's still on. So it's up to you. Do you want the show to still be around?
So go put a case of the wine in your shopping cart, and then go put WLD in the coupon code. When it doesn't work, abandon the shopping cart and go about your day.
I just have a hard time thinking that Viognier goes with hot dogs.
Oh, I think it'd be pretty good. And honestly, everything sounded great until you talked about the mustard seeds in there, because it almost sounded luxurious until that point. And I think that's the thing where it's there was a wonderful it may or may not have been a TED Talk, but it was an interview with Malcolm Gladwell where he was talking about the guy who actually helped create the Grey Poupon brand. He also had worked for the Newman's own dressing and had done some other things as well. He had done barbecue sauce too, and the whole idea. Oh, I'm sorry. He did Prego tomato sauce, right? The idea was you have to stop trying to look for the perfect tomato sauce. What you need is the perfect tomato sauces, and just have all these hyper specialized flavors like thick and chunky, robust, rustic, and that's why you see 100 different types of tomato sauce from the exact same company when you walk down the aisle. Grey Poupon came out of that same thing. That's why when you walk by the condiments and you look at the mustard, you see all this crazy stuff where it's like, well, let's just expand all this branding out to be like, hey, if you're the person that wants to be luxurious, you go ahead and get this. The only thing I'm wondering is, does the Grey Poupon wine, much like its predecessor, have the balls to charge $4.99 for a bottle?
$30.
That's
What?
that's respectable for a pretend high-end brand to attempt to command $30. I think that's legit.
I did like another thing that they said is that, Grey Poupon, we actually use white wine in making our mustard, whereas the rest of the shills use vinegar. And so they really rode this fine line too of like, this is the wine that we use with, there was like this, we use white wine and it's, shows in this Viognier, there's a really good dance that they did to not say that they use some bucket wine in their in their great.
They use
Grey
grape
Poupon.
juice that sat for a day. That's what they.
Yeah. Aaron, I am sure that you cannot pick up a bottle of this at the Mustard Museum in Middleton, Wisconsin. You can only get it at greypoupon.com. Yeah, Grey Poupon wine. I mean, that's the goal, that by the end of the show, you don't even know. It's Grey Poupon. All right. For fuck's sake. Last call. We don't really have shit to talk about at last call anymore. I mean, don't follow us on any social media. I guess
hang out at the tavern.
The tavern on Facebook will be around as long as Facebook doesn't have any more major outages.
Or if they're not
soon.
shut down.
Blow the whistle and join our Facebook group.
Go to Apple Podcasts and give us a big fat 1-star review.
Yeah. Is that our new goal? Like
1 star.
Yeah. I want all those. What are we at right now? What's like our average rating?
5.
5? Too much. So more 1-star reviews, everybody.
Well, you can knock this down to 2.5
and leave a comment. Otherwise, your rating isn't gonna be weighted as much.
Yeah. So here's what you do. You either go leave us a 5-star review and trash us in your written review, or you leave us a 1-star review and then write the best things about us in your written review.
Yes, and the greatest juxtaposition betwixt score and review, they will win a shout out from me in our final episode, which is next week, when they will reveal to me what the hell penultimate means.
And if you can somehow squeeze Grey Poupon into your review, positive or negative, we would love it. All right, you did the Apple Podcast. Don't check out the show notes because the site's probably not going to be up for much longer. And okay, look at that. It's the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
So, my wife's been out of town for 2 shows, and she's going to get back and she's going to ask me, so what did I the refrigerator looks the same as when she left, right? So what did you eat? And I'm going to be like, salsa is a vegetable.
Jeff Solomon.
If I may, I would like to follow on this trend of the misclassification of things. As much as I truly believe that Michelle Obama is a goddess, I will still to this day give her shit for basically allowing the big food companies to classify pizza as a vegetable so that it could get on lunch menus. That was a big no. Michelle Hussein Obama.
Aaron in the chat.
Other than that, I think you're great, by the way.
Aaron in the chat said, "You guys are killing me. Thanks for getting me most of the way through the pandemic." So,
thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for tuning in, Aaron, to this, whatever the fuck this is.
So does that mean the pandemic's over next week?
Next week it ends. You're welcome. You're welcome, world.
Penultimate. That's like pandemic in Latin.
Pandemic ender.
Ultimate.
This is the pandemic ender. Next week's episode is the pandemic ender. Yes. And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast.
Where you'll never drink alone. Smoked whale testicles. Whoop whoop.
Everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope that you can at least pop in next week. We don't know what we're gonna do. I think it's just gonna be a normal episode because we are not imaginative people in the least. And Jeff wants to ride out singing the same old song that he's always sang and telling more of America to fuck off.
Here's the one thing I think should happen next week.
Yes, we all record like this. Hey, so anyways, what is this?
No.
We all record naked.
No, better than that.
Yeah, we're all gonna be Winnie the Poohing next week.
No,
you'll never know.
We get our wives on.
No, I would tell you right now that won't happen.
Just for 2 seconds.
No, it's not gonna happen. Nope.
She's watching the new season of Vanderpump Rules. I learned that shit tonight. Behind my back, she's been watching the new season of Vanderpump Rules. I like that. I want to watch that. I need to see what's going on with Tom.
What is up with that lady? She cooks and she gets new tattoos. Is that the deal?
What? Lisa Vanderpump?
Yeah.
Of La Villa Rosa? Lisa Vanderpump?
Rhett wants to be a guest now. We got one episode. He's like, oh shit, I guess I should ask if I could be a guest now.
Jesus, Rhett, you should have asked a long time ago. We have no guests last episode.
No guests next week. All right,
but
viewers,
we're gonna watch. Be our guest.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Be our guest.
We're going to let the viewers go so that we can get into knockdown, drag out arguments and call each other names and yell at each other and pound on tables.
My hand hurt the next day, by the way.
Oh my God.
So we would love it if you guys can join us next week, even if it's for a few minutes. Just jump in to say fuck off or love you guys or whatever, but love to see you next week and look forward to.
Bye, Jeff McKinney. Let me know what penultimate means on Twitter.